A Build Hatch developed production.
Hello, I'm Aaron Kyle and welcome to another episode of Build Hatch. On this week's episode of Build Hatch, I had a really grounded sit down with husband and wife duo Jack and Claire Burke from Muse Built. This week's episode was a really honest and genuine chat, and as usual, I really love and enjoy the down-to-earth conversations that I get to have every week. And this week's conversation really isn't any different. It covered a lot of the aspects of operating and running your own business in construction. These guys are a great couple, and it was really nice just to talk openly and honestly about their story, where they've come from, where they are now, and certainly where they want to head in future. I particularly enjoyed seeing how these guys interact and complement each other with their work and how much they love construction and their own business. Like I said, this conversation really covered a lot of ground, so let's get into it. Jack and Claire from Muse Built, welcome to Build Hatch.
Hi.
Thank you. Thanks for your time.
Now, you're our first husband and wife duo on Build Hatch, so this is really interesting. So your company's called Muse Built, so where does the name Muse Built come from?
I might let you answer that one, babe.
A while ago, we had another business name that Jack came up with years and years ago when he first started, and it wasn't really one that people could remember. People didn't really know how to say it. So we were like, we need something that's a bit easier to brand. Someone remembers the name. It's nice and clean. So I just come up with the idea of Muse because I like people coming to me with a picture. I'm a Pinterest addict, so I would go, here's a picture. Can you build me this? So that's kind of where that come from. When we go and see a client, we're all about what do you want? How do you want the house to feel? What do you want to achieve? How do you want it to flow? So it's kind of just all based on, someone else's imagination.
It's a good talking point, and I guess it allows people to come to you with their ideas and, like you said, transpire that into, a really efficient way of trying to work out what they want from their renovation project or building project.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think it was because I've seen, like spec homes and project homes be built, and I never really liked the idea of you have the same house as your neighbour. So it would kind of just come from, I like things being a bit custom, make it fit how you want to live in a place rather than someone telling you this is how it is laid out and this is what you get.
So whereabouts did you guys grow up?
Hunter Valley area, actually. So, we met through my brother at a 19th birthday party, and, we've been basically together for 10 years ever since that. Hit it off and, happily married.
So growing up in the beautiful wine region of the Hunter Valley, did you always set out to enter the building industry from a young age?
Yeah, I did. Like, it was inevitable, actually, because my father's a builder. My pop had always done handyman work. So I'm pretty well third generation, but I suppose the new school type wave of builder coming through now, he's still going, and we actually team up on a few projects still to this day. No, my dad, so he's still going as well. So we team up on a few projects and still help each other out if we've got a big workload. So
that's really handy, isn't it, to be able to tap into that resource?
It's unreal. Like, I learn everything from him. So we click straight away when we get on site. There's no headbutting or anything like that. I know a lot of guys that work with their old mans are always headbutting. So no, but we work really well together. He's got a good crew. One of his chippies is my younger brother, Tom. So, we all work really well. We've all grown up together. We've all worked together over a long period of time.
Did you do your apprenticeship through his business?
Yeah. So I didn't particularly learn on the tools with him. He had a great few carpenters and all different trades that in that time throughout the Hunter Valley.
I think that's an important strategy if you are sort of employing your son or daughter or any family member for that matter. It's always good to sort of allocate them with someone where they're going to get that independent education from.
Yeah, absolutely. I was treated rough. The boss's son.
No special
favourites. Not. But I love that. You're taught hard and you're taught right. This day and age, I'm only 30, but you can just see that new wave of apprentices coming through that haven't really had that hard line, I suppose, of that tradie giving him the right way how to do things properly and being stern with them. So that worked for me. It doesn't work for everyone, but looking back now, I love that.
So at what point were you working with your father's company that you decided to go out on your own?
I went travelling actually after I did my apprenticeship. I signed off, become a tradie, and then went travelling for about a year, and then come back and I was like, all right, I sort of really want to step it up and do my own thing. At that time, I was still living at home, and it was just too much. I wanted to get out, do my own thing, move out of home. So that's sort of how it all come about for starting up Muse Built.
Was there ever like a tough discussion to have with your old man to say, well, Dad, I want to go out on my own, or because you'd gone travelling that broke that ice?
Yeah, not really, to be honest, because when I was away, there was a bit of a lull in the building industry. So he didn't have much work for me anyway. He's like, I at that time, I think it was just a Facebook messenger chat. Like my phone wasn't even a smartphone. So he's like, oh, we're quiet. So it's a good thing you're overseas traveling, seeing the world. And then I come back and just basically did my own thing. Still helped him out here and there, but I wanted to really kick off my own brand and identity. So, I just did my own thing and had him help here and there, and he did his stuff. I helped him. So we still worked together, but I wanted to go off on my own path. So it's worked great now because we've got two crews that help and integrate each other and, make great renovations and great builds.
Now, what about you, Claire? What sort of background have you got?
Mine is more related to my father has a safety company, so I've kind of always ran that. I was into that straight after school, so I've been there 10 years. And I guess I'm kind of grateful for that because I did get a lot of business experience. So with my dad running it, I kind of stepped up and helped him run the company. So I got a bit of experience of how to, with clients, how to deal with them and accounting parts of business and how a business runs and what goes on behind the scenes and all that type of stuff. So I guess that kind of helped me jump in with Jack as well when he started his company up, just to kind of guide him through, this is what my dad does. Maybe we could adapt the same kind of thing to make it work here. Was
that like a consultancy safety business?
Yeah.
So risk management, work health and safety systems.
Yeah, he does all of that type of stuff, and to a lot of different industries. So mining, he did a bit of stuff with trade businesses. So yeah, I guess that kind of helped me on the business side of things, being I've never really had anything to do with construction other than, my parents doing little renovations here and there. But the business side of it and kind of relating to a trade, like going into it, I knew, what goes on a work site. I knew that it wasn't just, textbooks, everything that's in a textbook doesn't happen on a work site. So I could kind of adapt to talking to people in a trade industry. And I guess that practical experience, seeing that happen.
That's really unique in that you're able to draw on that work health and safety experience and bring it internally into you and Jack's own business.
Yeah.
Particularly nowadays with how important safety is, the amount of systems and risk management and procedures that we have to have in place on construction sites.
Yeah, definitely. And I think just getting things processed. So how do you make contact with a client when they first contact you? How do you come across? How do you communicate with people? How do you go from, being on a site to then you're in the office and you kind of got to jump from one role to another? And then, me kind of applying stuff to Jack on site. I wasn't just a shiny person sitting in an office. I kind of knew it was all dirty and out there on a work site, so I could kind of adapt to things that weren't going to work and things that were.
Yeah, you had that bird's eye view, that hawk eye view, if you like, of looking through the business and being able to get on the ground running. Yeah.
Things like the boring stuff like payroll and invoicing and cash flow and banking and talking to accountants and that type of stuff, I've kind of taken control of because I've done it for the past 10 years, which is, I guess Jack's probably pretty happy about that. He doesn't have to deal with that stuff.
Fantastic. Yes. Yeah. No, that's a massive role in itself, just a few of those dot points.
It is, and it's probably the most unrewarding and superficial role because
it's all free labour.
It's it generally, or even if it's not free labour, it still doesn't feel because you're kind of processing your own payment, if that makes,
Yeah.
it's a bit
Yeah.
like wrapping up your own birthday present.
Yeah. She's done that a couple of
I
times.
do that very often. Christmas, birthdays.
Exactly. Did you sort of start off being a carpentry crew?
Yeah, we did. We did carpentry, subbing to builders. I've got a tight collective of other builder friends as well. So we've been really close and helped each other out for the last, say, 10 years. So things like that help you get an understanding of how a builder runs things, the levels to construction, carpentry, trades, scheduling, all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, we did start out like that, and then it's just baby steps all the way up. HIA, we did the builder's license there, and then, integrating it, then all of the systems and the safety and compiling it all together. So, it's a pretty hard slog for a new guy coming in.
It is, and I actually have a couple of mates who did the opposite. They went from building back to being that subcontract carpentry crew, because in some ways it's a lot easier. You're just on the tools, you know what you're doing every day.
Put your invoice in and you get paid at the end of the week.
Yeah, you get paid. It's in some ways it's a lot easier, but it's
less stress.
Completely. So can you remember your first project that you quoted on as a builder?
Yeah, I do. It was with a friend actually I trained with at the gym for a while. Like, not every day, I didn't train with him exactly, but we talk all the time. And he just said, mate, I'm looking at renovating my house at Mayfield. I know you're a chippy. Do you want to help me out? And I said, yeah, that's fine. Definitely undercut myself a lot, which a lot of guys new to the trade would do. Very eager and hungry to get your first sort of solid job and become that bigger entity, I suppose, as a construction or as a company. So
what did you underestimate on that first job? Was it labour or materials?
Yeah, it was materials, definitely. We've got a lot of systems in place now which help with that, but it's just being new to the game and thinking I had it, but I should have asked a few more questions to my dad or a few other friends that are in the game as well. So there was just a few things that I undercut too much, and I think I'll crunch numbers, and I think I was short like 20 grand at the end of that job. But to my credit, I finished it as per quote, exactly how they wanted it. I did everything that we said we were going to do. I'm a big believer in doing that. So, it came out perfectly. I was straight up with them. I said, this is what has happened. I'm pretty transparent like that. And they were understanding. I said, listen, if you can help me, work within time frame of doing some other jobs so I can use that profit to pay off this. I had nothing at the time. It was literally some dark days. So, there was some free labour from the old man and the brother as well to come out and help me. So,
and you're probably lucky looking back at that age that you didn't have other responsibilities or,
it was the best ever.
Mouths to feed.
Yeah.
Because you can learn those early lessons.
It was a huge lesson that hurt me, but I wouldn't change anything now. It's taught me so much in the last, 7 years since that. So, as much as it hurts at the time, you just got to put one foot in front of the other and keep going.
What's your favourite part of running a building company?
Great question. Asking Claire if she's ticked all her jobs for the day. I don't know. I honestly love just getting to site with the boys. I like being in a team environment. I'm not the type of builder that's going to be stuck in the office all day and trying to run a massive empire. I'm happy to go and do some hard yards and, show the boys how it's done. But I want to be around the team, to be honest. So
how many guys have you got as part of your crew?
I've got 3 plus myself, and then Claire's obviously helping out in the office and that.
And what's a typical project for Muse Built?
Usually like rear extensions on a house, open plan living, kitchens, bathrooms, a lot of structural changes, decks, pergolas, and that obviously added on and tacked on the back, and then, landscaping that whole project as well. So
that seems to be a rapidly growing inclusion in building, because I think particularly with the COVID world we live in and backyard space is getting smaller and smaller, it's becoming more hardscapes.
Yep.
Therefore, it seems to be more and more a part of the scope of works for the builder.
Definitely. No, we've just teamed up with Mark from Mud, and he does some amazing concepts. Obviously, we work it out to suit the build as well. Everything looks good on a 3D map for a client, but then we go through and look at it all. And, you know, some of his concepts are great. We obviously tweak it a bit with the client, with the architect. But it's a niche in the building industry, I feel, with architectural landscape designs, fire pits, pools, everything in between with decks and pergolas. I feel like there's some great designs out there now, and, you know, shows like The Block and that, they're a huge hit with people wanting these new grand landscape designs. I feel like it's going to be a bit of a hit soon.
What sort of marketing do you guys do with your business?
Usually,
not too much.
Yeah, not too much. Honestly, we do just the general Instagram. Try and keep that pretty sturdy, like pretty constant with flow, and then word of mouth. We obviously help.
A lot of our stuff is word of mouth, or people see our signs. Like, we don't have big signs, just little signs around Newcastle. People, get onto our Instagram, have a look on there. Our Instagram is pretty good. We show all different stages of a job. Like, Jack will take videos while he's on site. I'll post the pretty pictures at the end. But yeah, we get a lot of people just through that. And
then just website as well. Yeah. That's just an online platform. I have a friend in marketing, and he does a few like Google AdWords, things like that, to help us boost that. So he designed our website. He does a few of the marketing campaigns and that. Nothing major though. Like, for the listeners, we're not spending tens of thousands of dollars on that. It's honestly just a website, some Google AdWords that obviously lead to more traction into your website, and then
word just on Instagram overnight.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
pretty simple.
From the people that I talk to and work with, it seems to be it becomes more. They know about you already, but they use that website or Instagram as a vehicle to more or less confirm what they were thinking. Or I've heard good things about Jack and Claire or Muse Built, but they'll go to Instagram or social media to look at the actual work, and that'll be the final feather in the cap to say, I'll ring these guys tomorrow.
I think our biggest traction has come from us changing our name, to be honest. I think a lot of people resonate with the new name. It's something fresh, it's new. People remember it. So yeah, I think that's been our biggest move, was doing all of our name change and rebrand, which we didn't do it to get people in. We did it because we wanted a better look. A better name, something, like I said, you can remember. So yeah, it seems to have just come from that.
What's it like being a young couple coming up through the ranks, having a building company and working together as husband and wife? What's that like?
We seem to work pretty well together.
Yeah, we're a good team.
I haven't killed
Claire
him yet.
Claire was very quick answering that question, Jack.
Putting words in his mouth.
Yeah, I stuttered a little bit there. No,
I made sure he said the right thing.
We're
there were no elbows or nudges.
Exactly. Imagine what she says off air.
Yeah.
No, it's been good. It is hard days here and there, but the bigger vision's obviously the one that pulls you through those times. So, I mean, we don't have a family as yet. The little kids running around, that would be a fair bit harder. In time, obviously, that'll happen. But, right now we're just focused on, the next few years and what we want to create before we start to go that avenue.
What are your exciting plans for the future?
There's a few. I think we kind of want to get to a place where we can do our own builds, so we can buy houses, renovate them, sell them on. That's something that I certainly enjoy. I've enjoyed doing this project here. In a few years' time, we do want to start a family, so it's trying to set up for me being able to do that and not stressing about having to have a job and then run a company and run a house and everything else. So that's definitely a big one. And I guess perfecting that work-life balance. At the moment, we feel like all we do is work. Jack's up early of a morning, we're working through the day. Of a night, we're still working. I'm in the office of a night when I get home. So kind of getting to a point where we can switch off at a certain time and work's done for the day. I think that's probably one of the biggest plans that we've got.
I actually struggle with that myself, with switching off. Like I just get obsessed with construction, and construction is so diverse. Like in my day-to-day type work, if I'm driving past and I see a property that's for sale, or if I'm thinking about an upcoming project that I'm working on, like it's so hard to switch off because it's almost everywhere you look. It's such a multifunctional part of our everyday world. Construction, it's our house, it's investments, it's everywhere.
Definitely.
For sure. And we want to get to a stage where we're doing multiple developments ourselves, just for our own personal life. So that's sort of the direction that we will definitely go. We still want to do some nice high-end work and, just make beautiful spaces for people to love and appreciate. We don't want to become the biggest builder in Newcastle, definitely not. I'll say that loud and proud. It's, we're happy doing us and we'll do it quality.
How do you quote a renovation? I mean, you mentioned before about a lot of your works, alterations and additions. It's such a difficult aspect of construction to be able to quote. So how do you do it?
Yeah, it's super hard. I think systems in place is the biggest thing. And I've learnt that through a few friends that have building companies as well. They do a lot bigger work than us, but it's just always asking those guys and having a good support network that'll help you and guide you and work in with you. I think the old days of a builder not talking to another builder's over, I hope, because, it's a hard slog and I want everyone to be in it together. But going back to that, we have just software online that we use, Cordell's, Build Exact. There's a few elements there that we use to guide us through that process. There's still hard bits of it that you have to figure out yourself because there's not a number towards it.
It's extremely hard. I mean, if you're knocking out doors and windows and double brick,
old heritage homes and things like that, there's a lot of unforeseen things that'll pop up, and that's where you just have to have proper contracts in place that yourself and the client know exactly what's going on and just be transparent that way, because there's a lot of things that arise that you haven't quoted for and you don't even know what's there. It's super, super difficult. But
do you do fixed price or cost plus or both?
We do both, yeah.
And do you have like a preference on one or the other?
Not really, to be honest. It's
more or less whatever the client feels comfortable with.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think, if a client comes to us and they're a little bit undecided about what they want, we just did a bit of a project and the client didn't really know exactly where they wanted to get to when they first brought this property. So they added things on, they took things off just in our discussions back and forward with them. So we did that one on a cost plus because it was a bit easier to manage. But yeah, I think at the start, just be as detailed as you can. I'm a big one for detail. So when I go to a site meeting, I'll ask a million questions. In an email back to them, I'll be very detailed about, do you want this? Do you want that? Is this included? And then when I do it in the quote, just very specific about what's included and what we haven't taken into account.
Yeah, it's definitely a key attribute to have, particularly dealing with unknowns, is, as they say, the devil's in the detail.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
And I'm not the greatest at detail with pen and paper. On site I am. So we make a really good team with that because, we'll do a meeting together and I'll run through everything in my head with the client, all the specifics of how the build's going to go and details like that. And then if it was by myself, all of those questions I'm asking or the answers I'm getting would just be lost into thin air. And then you go back into the car and you're like, what just happened then? Where Claire will jot it all down and then we can work as a team to get the exact details for everything going in.
Yeah, as they say, minutes are the key.
Yeah, definitely.
How do you manage interaction with trades and subcontractors?
Manage it, just be on top of it. It's just communication, I feel. So I've been pretty lucky. Like I've played rugby league around Newcastle area and the Hunter Valley. So a lot of my tradies are actually guys that I've played footy against or with. So we do have a friendship, and there's guys that I haven't done any sport with and I'm still friends with as well. But it's just communication, being upfront, being transparent, and not being too serious as well. At the end of the day, a lot of these guys are just tradies, so you can't be all pen and paper and all that. You have to still treat him as just a mate on site.
And I think having that camaraderie as well, particularly amongst trades, and there's almost this accepted practice in construction of
banter.
Yeah. So, you just have a bit of fun with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there is serious times, definitely, but most of the time you can still have a chat and talk a bit of whatever and have a bit of fun. So, yeah, it makes it fun. And that's what you want. You don't want to go to work and it's just day in, day out, boring slog. You want to have a good crew around you. So.
You need to make it interesting.
Absolutely. So I feel like we've got a pretty good network like that. So, yeah, it does definitely help.
What gets you up every morning?
Loving what you do. Like, I actually love building. I honestly do. I love having a job come to life, just always thinking about how things are going to work, a bit of a nerd like that. So, yeah, I honestly just love being around a team environment, getting to work and help, like being around the boys and the trades. It's really whatever gets me up, that's about it. So
now, we were talking before about, I guess, progressing through your career and one day aiming to have your own projects and things like that. So today we're recording this podcast in your ongoing Mayfield project.
Yep.
So is that part of the steps, I guess, in getting into that direction? You buy something, renovate it as not only a practical couple, a hands-on couple, but you're in the business of building. Is that part of it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big part of it. Like, we've got a big family as well. So my brothers are about to go in and buy a house. Like, we want to do some family developments later on. So it's just stepping stones on us getting, our own investments done as a collective and then really gelling in the future as well and do some bigger ones. So, yeah, that's sort of what we're going to look forward to.
So it's a really nice project that we have here in Mayfield. So tell us about this one.
Yeah, so we got this 2 years ago. One of my other nerdy builder friends, he came in after we got it. We were excited looking at it all, and he actually went home that night and he started till about 2 a.m. and he did a floor plan for me. And that was the start of the gist. Like, I was busy moving stuff in and he's like, no, I know exactly what we're going to do here. So it was awesome. Shout out Kane from Green Build. He's definitely helped out a lot with the design and all that sort of thing of this. And then, we basically just put pen to paper and got the nail bag on and made it happen. So it's been a pretty cool project.
And clearly where we're recording this is in the new part of the house.
Yes, correct.
So did you live in the older part of the house whilst you built this part?
We basically lived in one room of this house while it was getting done.
What was that like?
Small and cramped.
No, it's not. I don't recommend
stressful.
it.
It was an experience, that's for sure.
Whilst running a business, it's not fun. Like, you always have to make sure the office is just completely clean and mess free. Otherwise, if you're in that, how's your business going to run when you got a cloudy head? So,
what's your favourite part of this project?
The finish line. We're pretty well there, so it'll be on the market soon.
What's it like looking back now? Like, when you guys sort of, as a young couple, having those early conversations, thinking about New Year's Eve and New Year, aspirations for the coming year. What was that like?
Yeah, it's like, we've always been hard workers, so it's sort of a weird question for me to answer because honestly, I don't really look back. It's hard. I honestly we just keep going, all right, what's next? What's next? Yeah. So we just always keep them busy, and it's a hard one. I don't know. How do you feel about that?
Well, I find that there's never mistakes, only lessons along the way.
Definitely.
So I that's how I view things. It's a constantly revolving door. It's like someone saying define success. It's just a never-ending battle. It's you can argue about being happy and content with achieving certain goals and things like that, but I see it as like an ultra marathon. It's broken down into stages, and you tick off box number one, and you've reach that milestone, and you get there and you think, oh yeah, I'd like to go do something else or bigger, and then you keep going, and not everyone's wired like that. So I see things as a constant revolving door
definitely.
that never ends. You just wake up every day and what are my goals? I go out and get them. And whereas like we spoke about, some people, they enjoy, say, just being on the tools, going day to day, finish work, have a surf, and happy days to those guys. Like they love it.
Yeah.
So, and that's probably the key difference, I think, between being, say, a chippy and a builder, is it's such a humongous step up in the responsibility, liability, the stress, the interactions with not just trades, but of course the clients. It's just a huge step up.
Yeah.
And everyone watches TV and think it's a walk in the park, when if only they knew what went on behind the scenes.
Yeah, I think that's my biggest thing. Looking back, when we first started, I really knew not much about construction other than, like I said, just seeing little projects here and there. So I couldn't even honestly tell you what our goals were back then. We've taken so many twists and turns and changed direction and all of that type of stuff. But yeah, it's just constantly evolving. I think if you just put your head down, you get in and you do the work, then you just ride the wave. You just keep going. There's never an end line.
And you said it, like that adapting and pivoting, that's a critical ingredient, I think,
you could have an idea, now 12 months down the track, it's completely different. You don't know what's going to happen. Take COVID, for instance. We didn't know that was going to hit. So being able to just adapt to whatever's thrown at you.
What's it like getting that feeling, knowing that you've just completed a job on time and on budget? Describe what that feels like.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like for me, it's seeing the owners. If the owners and clients are happy, the builder's happy. Like that's all that matters, really. I mean, it's their domain. You've created that space for them, so you got to do what you said you were going to do and set out to do. And at the end of the day, if they're all happy, then geez, it makes you happy, because it means that final invoice is coming in.
Yes, we all know about that. What would you say to another young couple coming up through the ranks, or another young builder thinking about setting up their own business, becoming a builder? What would you say to those guys?
Yeah, I believe take the leap. It's a big leap. You got to be prepared. There's a lot of work hours involved in the work week. There's not much time off. If you love having free time, it probably isn't for you, because in the first few years it's going to be a slog, but it's definitely worth it. So yeah, I ask a lot of questions as well. Get around a few builder friends or any other trades that you know. Ask questions. I'm always asking questions. I've done it for years and years. Always just picking people's brains. I think you have to, especially in business. Like my family, like mum and dad, they've got large families of their own, and they all run business. So ever since I was a young kid, I'd go and work for them in school holidays. I'd pick their brain. They'd teach me stuff. And I wasn't the most academic student. I played up a lot, but I don't know. I was just always asking questions, very inquisitive about how they operated. And I suppose that's helped us, right up to this day.
I think it comes down to having that outlook as well on life and everything that you do, just being open and honest and positive, and being able to problem solve and do the right thing by people, really.
Yeah, that's right. Definitely.
Construction and business are really two different things, and being successful in one doesn't necessarily mean you can do really great things in the other. So how would you sort of separate business from running an actual construction business?
I think relating to us, Jack is very good at the construction side of things. He's great on site, knows how to run a job, with his eyes closed. But you need to find someone who can help you on the business side. And Jack's really great at that, but I think that's kind of where I would pick up the slack there. So I think there's an idea that people have when you own a business that you can have a holiday when you want. It's easy sailing, you get paid, there's money, that type of stuff. But in real terms, it's hard. It's a lot of hard work. Whatever money you get in the business is not yours. and just kind of keeping that mindset that you're not gonna get big returns out of it anytime soon, and you've got to put in the hours. And you can't really have the mentality of being in a job. So I'm going to work from 9 o'clock till 5 and then I'm going to clock off and I'm going to get paid at the end of the day. That doesn't happen.
If anything, having your own business is more hours, sometimes less money, less flexibility.
Definitely.
A lot of the times those.
I mean, weekends when you're running a young business, weekends are quoting, paperwork, getting on top of bills,
absolutely,
planning for next week.
Yeah, there's a bit of a delusion there, I think, with I don't know. I feel like it might be the social media sort of world, sort of trying to tie into a traditional business as well. We're just traditional business. We're just trying to do a little spin on marketing and get your name out there and adapt to a few different changes that are happening now in this current time. So yeah, there's a lot of different things that you need to do that I suppose aren't talked about frequently.
And also, like, let's face it, I mean, you look online and most of the time you only see the pretty stories or the wonderful projects. What you don't see, particularly in my line of work, is all the shit fights that go on behind the scenes.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's a hard slog.
Yeah. I think if you're minded like that, if you like business, then it's great. Like, I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else because I've done it forever. Jack's done it forever. So I'm used to the hard slog every day. And I like being really busy. So I don't mind, having lots going on at the same time. But I think you just have to be prepared for that.
Yeah, we feel a bit weird if we're not busy.
Yeah, if I have a day off, I'm a bit like, I should be doing something.
That comes back to that obsession, I think, of having your own business where it's like your little baby and you want to look after it 24 hours, 7 days a week. And if you're away from it, you're tearing your hair out thinking, what's going on? Is it going to be okay?
Yeah.
Like, it just, for me, it's like it never gets finished. It's never, ever perfect. It's never, the door is never shut. It's just constantly, if there's always something you can do and you do, unless you physically remove yourself from that environment, you're just thinking about it 24 hours a day.
Yeah. I think our philosophy is we'll knuckle down for 6 months and we'll just work like there's no tomorrow, and then we'll go away for 2 weeks and phones are left. We don't speak to anyone. We go camping, sleep on a beach, just get away from everyone, and then we come back and we do it all again.
Yeah.
Re-energized.
Yeah.
You have to. Phone's away. It's a big thing. It's on all the time. You're always messaging, calling someone, emails are popping through. It's like just bing, bing, bing. You just need to turn it off. So, and yet again, small business. We're like, at the moment, we're like, I wouldn't mind getting away because it's sort of, no one's had a break for a while and we just keep working every day. So,
yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. But everyone's going through it. So
they are, unfortunately. Now, outside of work, speaking of trying to switch off, what do you guys like to do when not working in your business?
Go up north. Yeah, we'll just drive up north. Just wherever it takes us.
Drive until we find a beach.
Yeah, we just like having adventure, honestly, like phone off adventure, fishing, whatever it takes, for driving. We'll go up north and see friends and family and just have some fun, chill out.
Yeah, look, that comes back to the old simple things in life, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely just grounds you, like not having to put work boots on and just walk on the sand.
Fresh air, back to reality.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what we love doing. And but honestly, we don't ever wish that we're away. We love what we do. So it's just, we appreciate it when we can go away, and we are able to financially still have a business that'll run without us being there, but not for too long. So yeah, so no, you do have to have little breaks here and there, refresh, reset, go again.
Absolutely. All right, well, Jack and Claire from Muse Built, thank you for coming on to Build Hatch.
Thank you.
It's been really nice just to sit down and talk to you, and particularly in your recently completed renovation project. So well done. It's a really nice job. So look forward to seeing you guys around.
Awesome, mate. Thanks for your time.
Well, that was another Build Hatch episode with Muse Built couple Jack and Claire Burke. Now, we are getting a lot of great feedback with this show. The journey so far has been truly amazing, and some of the people that I've met along the way has been truly incredible. And what I'd love for everyone to do for me this week, if you wouldn't mind, is to rate our show wherever you download this episode from. And please do keep the messages coming in. I've had so much amazing, great feedback from people all over the world. It's been truly fascinating. So, as usual, please check out our Instagram page where you'll be able to learn more about our guests and some of the stories that we talk about. Have a great week, and you'll hear me on the airwaves again next week. Thanks for listening to another episode of Build Hatch.
You have experienced a Build Hatch developed production.